Hopefully this works, because this is going to be exciting. Techies and Techats, I know I'm back. My old rig, Mark 1 right there. We're going to be doing some benchmarks today, and we're going to be doing some overclocking benchmarks. We'll be looking at more of the Adrenalin software and taking a more well-rounded approach of what today's standard was versus about roughly 3 months ago. So we're looking at 90 days of progress and what their AMD team has gotten to. And it's been seeming pretty good. Now, one thing that I did find out with switching around my screens is that I lost my variable refresh rate, but I still got my event scheduling, and this is what we got for our benchmark. So let's go ahead and hop into the digital realm real fast, and we're going to take it from there for as far as what we're going to be doing today. And I'm going to broadcast today in like 1080p. Figured it was a little bit easier on my old rig, nothing super crazy. So it'll be a lot more faster on the latency too. I'm really excited on that much. Well, since we already have our base score right here, let's go ahead and go to the Adrenalin software. Most people who haven't already popped that open, you can open this up and you can see it's on automatic on the default. Now, a lot of people wonder if you need to leave this open. No, you can just really quickly close that. I know that's a popular question a lot of people ask, and I was like, you know what, I kind of want to answer that. Figured why not in the very beginning of an overclock, and people be like, oh cool, nice factoid. But what we're gonna go for is, let's go ahead and get a kind of a decent, well-rounded situation. Last time we went towards what I was kind of feeling was their overclock, and we're gonna go ahead and let it proceed and do its thing. It should spurt out a number. Last time it was around like 1882, and the score that we were trying to beat is around 22,397 for my top out. So we'll see if that. Now this one's a little bit lower, at least by 1, but that's its native, and this is a newer Radeon 7 card, so it's like within the ballpark, not the exact manufacturer ones where it's the founder's card. That card's so cool, but that one right now, it's doing high computing right now. It's pretty chill right now. But for right now today, we're going to use the XFX. It's a very good card. But you can see right now, as we already kind of dialed it in, we can close this, and we're going to go ahead and run the same test for our Fire Strike. Let's see what we get. Now, another reason why I went ahead and ran this score was there was 2 other major Windows updates for most people that tune in for like the updates of the AMD stuff. So far, Windows has not been too bad. I was a little scared when they did the Explorer update. I was like, oh no, what are you going to do to my ecosystem? It wasn't that bad. And then for as far as the situation with the newer one, that was like a kind of a defense one, like basically the security defense, I was really frightened. I was like, whoa, no, oh Nelly, you're gonna kill it. But it actually was fine. The base scores matched up exactly where it was at without the variable refresh rate, and we didn't see a huge drop. So I mean, so far it seems like Windows is really trying, and AMD's just like going up. I mean, all the way up. You know, like I can't stress that enough. You just look at their stock market; it's pretty sexy right now. But looking on that situation for as far as what you can see for FPS, one of the core things that I like about today's standard and looking at what we're actually getting ourselves into is more of the smoother, non-terrible point, because that was one thing I noticed about when the Radeon 7 kind of came surfing across the nice like waves and just chilling out. It was a little choppy, and nowadays it's really smooth. You don't see as bigger breaks or more of tears and like these noticeable, like almost like the old school tracking like stuff, like a 90s effect you'd see in like Stranger Things. But I'm more excited to see exactly where AMD goes with towards the November, because they're waiting to launch their cards, bigger Navi, so 21 through 23, which is going to be very interesting. Because now that we actually have a confirmed portion of the 3080 and 3080 Ti from NVIDIA, I mean, technology is just getting cray. But it's cool. It's like really good stuff. And I still can't believe NVIDIA is going for freaking CPUs and chiplets. I was blown away by that. I was like, you know what? I can actually probably get on board with that, because I feel like they're going to make a gaming, CPU. They're not really going to give a crap about like workload. I'm like, I just have a feeling like NVIDIA is just going to kill it with that. So yeah, very interesting situation. So I'm kind of guessing for like the test, honestly, it's going to be maybe 22 native. Which is actually pretty good compared to the last scores that we got in the last benchmarks. It didn't even come close to that. So I'm hoping with stretching the bandwidth, if it allows us to, like with this overclock. And I'll go more into detail about like what we're going to do with the overclock when we get to the Adrenalin setting. Just so if people have some questions, I've kind of like perfected my fan technique just a little bit on top of a few other things like that I think are more cooler. But I did pull the exact setting from the last one where we did the standard, which is the 20.4.2, which I thought was pretty cool. I can definitely hear my graphics card in the background. It's like trying to lift off Apollo, but it's too heavy. Yeah, that's a 1-ton machine. Can't sink that ship. I mean, it's not really 1 ton, but I mean, you know, it's got some density, some mass ratio. But so far so good. Like, I mean, honestly, the stuff that AMD is turning around, especially with now hearing about the, what was it, 4950X, which is about to destroy everything on the market. Like, I was just laughing. I was like, yep. Now we have, what is it, from RDNA, it's CDNA that they're going into, which is more of like the, I guess, new wave, new generation of what they're going to go beyond. So it's like AMD is really hitting home runs for as far as pushing forward. They really, really want to make the, like, I guess, stir. Oh, wow. That is hilarious. We actually reduced in score when, like, AMD, like, did its overclock. So that means that Windows is doing a better job. So don't do the native overclock. That kind of sucks. Now, can I beat it? I'm hoping so. I'm gonna crush it. Ain't no problem in the tech world. Let's go ahead and open up our Adrenalin. This could be a lot of things. So straight off the bat, I'm hearing a fan that's just not happy. Celsius, let's go ahead and tune you down. I want to hear you purr. So I don't really like that bass personally myself. I'm gonna kind of bring it like this. Bring this in a little bit closer. I've kind of gone towards more of like an old school like graft, like just because it performs a heck of a lot cleaner, and that was just such a big reductionable point. So we're gonna go ahead and tune our score real fast. And let me pull up the settings that I had for last time, so that way we can identically go towards it. All right, I'm just gonna type them in. That way it is a little bit easier. All right, so 264. Oh, no. Over 3,000 would be crazy enough, let alone that one. I do not want to burn my freaking Radeon card. A poor little bugger. It's barely seen light. Okay, cool. Now first line's perfect. We're gonna go with our delete 1 and almost there. 1207 is what I'm looking for. Volt. Remember, kids, don't remember to forget these settings. It's not friendly to a graphics card for long term. This is just for testing purposes. I would recommend bringing down the voltage right there, probably like 1150 to 1175 within that range, and kind of playing with it personally myself. And we're gonna change this arch pattern. This arch pattern is a little trash. I want to give you a nice little curve. Nice little. I mean, no, I believe you've received a little bump. Oh, okay, I see what your issue is. Okay, I see you. Now, haha, I got the correct arch. Boom. And as usual, with this graphics card, it has one of the most roomier settings for VRAM. I think it takes off like no tomorrow in that situation. Now, for as far as the overclocking and the percentage of what we're going to be doing on power limit, let's just go ahead and let it just soak it up. If it's going to need a bandwidth, this got the controlled. I believe it can handle this. I'm not going to quote R. Kelly and believe it can fly. I'm not going that far. But with all those settings basically tuned, and for as far as the graphic settings, they're just basically mediocre on the more underbelly of it. So this is what our main consumptible point is, but just kind of give you a nice little rundown. But let's see if it runs. Who knows with the advanced scheduling on in today's standard. But the score that I'm trying to beat personally is 22K and some change. So I'm hoping we can get there. I believe we can get there. I want to be optimistic. I believe it can. I'm not quite, that train trying to go uphill and stuff like that. I'm not Thomas. He's boss. But besides locomotives and a lot of cool tech industry talk and the cool stuff, I'm super also excited about another game that I've been kind of like digging and switching gears now on topics is Avengers. That game is pretty solid actually. Like they just released it not too long ago in beta for the first time ever, and I think it was pretty sweet. to consume. So good stuff, good times. I think everyone could benefit off of some nice Marvels like entertainment if you're a fan of comics. I mean, if not, totally get it. But good gameplay if you happen to have it reserved. It is available now. And Xbox is next week, but PC fans, unfortunately, I don't know if Square Enix is ever going to do that. You'd have to talk to them. I'm going to laugh if the advanced scheduling beats the crap out of my score and be like, no, no, I've been destroyed by Windows. But I don't think so. You know, I see that little crisp FPS. All right, so this is one of the more funner ones that I like to look at with the test, just honestly because of the way that it goes in the angles. When it goes above this right over here, right after it clears this, oh, okay, so we see that it's not playing well. It actually just tanked the. That is a kick boot. Now the question is it soft or hard? I'm gonna know in a few seconds. If it's basically resets my computer, that means that's a hard one. If it doesn't, then that means well. We'll go from there. And I know what I need to turn down. The bandwidth. Probably I go down to like 60. It's just a hair too much. I think it booted the whole system. Wow. It's just a little too heavy. That Windows can't hold that curve. Okay. It just told me that it just reset on my side. So this might naturally reset itself. I'm going to give it a few more seconds. And then might mosey on over near my computer and hit that reset button. And we'll start again. Because I gotta dial in something that we can do. I just need to beat this Windows score now. I mean, like, it's on like Donkey Kong. Alright, computer. Hold on. Jeez Louise. Complications. Ah! Fine, fair enough. Right as I get near the button, it's just like, nope, you should have just waited. Yeah, fair enough, I should have just waited. And you know it's a hard crash when you have to hit your numeral lock to re-engage. I don't know why that happens, but it happens. But yeah. Anyways, let's see what happens here. I'm probably gonna have to reset all the settings because it probably just tanked the computer itself. It's fine though. This computer is a trooper. But let me go ahead and shut down all the side programs I do not need. And then we'll go back to the Radeon setting. Alright. Alright, so let's go ahead and refresh, dump everything. Go back to manual. Then let me just get the last score. Give it a hair less on that, just in case. Threshold. Never trust the fan ratio, though. Mine's fine. Theirs is a little crazy. I feel like it never performs the way I want it to. Adjust mine just a little bit. That is looking pretty norm. I'm liking it. Let's go ahead and get our VRAM exactly where I need it. Control. And I think we can overclock. This should be good. Alright, second attempt. I think we'll do good. I'm still gonna believe. And I believed in the first time and it completely failed, but you know, hey, you gotta learn how to fall first before you run, right? And this is a whole new ecosystem, because 2004, honestly, for me, taking and drinking that cup of tea of what Windows has been, it's been a one rocky road ice cream that I have not liked. I can eat some rocky road from time to time. I don't eat it all the time, but it's decent, you know. It's like a, strudel. It's a delicious pastry of some sort. All right, so let's go ahead and click this on and see what happens here. Now this is going to be more of the interesting thing where I like to see like a little bit of the reduction but speed up. One of the balances you'll get with like overclocking is trying to find the headroom where you can push it a little bit more and then back it off by 25. Because like if you're doing like a gaming standpoint, you're definitely not going to want to clip it at the edge, because each manufacturer is going to have its own algorithmic run of the way that they're going to be utilizing the landscape of the DNA that they're using for like any kind of signature for graphics and what the architecture that they're throwing down, because that's basically why Windows has their C++ bull crap. It's just an add-on to the add-on to the add-on to the coding to the coding to the coding until they build a new like playing field. That's why Zen was so groundbreaking with AMD, which I loved. It was a game changer. And then they just got so damn creative with the thread ripping series, and that is one of the things I'm kind of interested to see what's going to happen with the future of that. Like, they're not talking too much about what's going to happen. That, and they did do a nice little, the ultimate version of with the 64 core. I thought that was really cool. 2 terabytes. That was pretty destructive. For as far as technology goes, I mean, I don't even understand why you would need that, but like, wow, Windows just hates it. At least this was a soft one. This was not that bad though. Not as bad as the first one. First one was like completely like shut down. Annihilation. But let's see what happens here. I think I can save it. Third time's the charm, right? So at this point in time, I think what I'm going to have to do is back off the power rating by at least 2 hairs. And we're going to go ahead and go to 50. It may just be that it's no longer applicable in that range, or it could just be my founder's card. It's just that damn good. I got the, what is it? Silicon lottery, as they like to say with that card, which is very possible. I just happen to get that cherry picked one where I can overclock really, really well, and the APU is just ready to sing 001 till that sun's done. Well, let's go ahead and try it one more time. Fingers crossed. Come on. Get that Michael Jackson. Come on. All right. But at the same time, this is really fun also to just like kind of see the boundaries of the XFX series, because I was wondering if I would be hitting any like barriers, because its natural underclock is just a hair bit underneath where mine was. So I was like, that could be it. AMD bend like all the good ones, and then they kind of moved over to the other company and then just switched it over very easily. Let's see that. So far, so good. I think we might actually get out of this one alive. But only time will tell. I feel like, like if Vincent Price was ever doing like a patch note, it would be so cool. It'd be like some spooky, ghoul-tastical portion. As long as I beat Windows, though, and their damn score. And all I have to clear is 21-4. That's not that bad. Hey, Outlaw. How you doing, buddy? How's life? Wow. This card is like nobody. A valid score of 0. I love how it at least gave me a validation of that score. We're making progress, you know? Okay, at this point in time, I guess I'm gonna have to back this off another 25. It may just be that. We'll see. It better not be the VRAM. The VRAM's awesome. Supposed to be that liquid awesome. But we'll see. Alright, we'll go one more test. If the 25 doesn't work, and we can work out from there, I suppose. We're figuring out the overclock on this puppy. And it could just be the Windows ecosystem. As we saw the very first overclock, it was just like completely trashed. So it's like more into your benefit not to use and just use the native default, which is very interesting if you think about it. Like now you're relying on Windows overclocking your card, and maybe that's an issue now. Where I did remember some people saying that they had to fiddle with settings and put on some beta settings for like I believe the 580 series, and like that was a huge dilemma like right now, which is kind of sucks. You know, people are having to resort to beta software, but it's kind of cool that there is a team of people out there ready to support you. So, well, there's a will, there's always a way. That freaking creature in the shadows always gets me. Just a little creepy dude. Wow! Really? Ah, this is just, this hurts the heart. This is some like crazy crap right here. I was like, I almost want to reset it to see what happens here, but I might just have like the Founder's card, which is so much easier. Or it could just be that 20.8.1 is just really bad at overclocking with the Windows ecosystem, which I would not even doubt, to be honest. Wow, so it's naturally overclocked. That's really good to know, Mark. How you doing there? This is definitely a learning curve. Like this is why I kind of wanted to host one because I was like wondering what the optional would end up doing, just so the community can kind of see like what's going on. So it's good to hear that other people are going with that, which is going to make me reduce my settings. So if I had 1881, which it's telling me, I'm gonna go with a clean 1996 to see what happens here. Enter that in, apply it over, and let's try one more time. Damn. Crazy crap, man. AMD and Windows. Trading blows in the digital realm here. But I mean, I gotta admit, it natively performs really well, and maybe that's what they were trying to do, is like for people that don't, like, I guess, want to overclock or deal with learning it, they want to just have a on and off switch, you know, and like I suppose that is pretty user friendly. In the near future, it'd be nice to see a, you know, enthusiast button, you know, overclock your stuff, or the advanced setting, which is so typically, you know, renowned in the tech world. Just kind of that tab that has the arrow that says down, and then it just like opens up this whole cool thing. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That is super crazy because like I used to be able to get up to like 64, almost 67 with pushing it. If I had cooled air on that, I could probably get it up to 70. But I mean, I was pushing it. Like you could tell, it's like the freaking bolts were flying off the ship and shit. It was crazy crap. True story. I heard my fans; they were whistling, but it wasn't Dixie. So far, so good. Okay, we cleared the corner. I think Mark's advice was very sound there. I didn't want to have to go down to that setting, but I knew that that was a safe overclock setting because that used to be a recommendable top out for the Radeon 7 cards back in the day. So I'm going with the safe boot of an overclock. And so far, it is looking pretty good pixely sound. Give me some 2200 club. Give me that 2200, please. Be cool. I think we might be able to get out of the woods with this one. This is going to be pretty good, which means it's probably just 2,000 is their top out, which is not too bad, honestly. 2,000 in the bandwidth, depending on like how you can get that, could be swung pretty well. I mean, at this point in time, it's just 4 points, which is very variable. I mean, that's maybe an FPS at that point in time. Is it worth it? Though I could bump up the power. That would help out a lot. I'm not gonna lie. The power would probably be more beneficial, if anything. The TDR is just like, yeah, I can go a little bit more hotter. Like that, you know, samurai sword right there. Looks like Samurai Jack's, like, evil villain he has to face off with. Something crazy. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we dialed in a perfect overclock. Now the question is, did I get my, like, well, digital score handed to me in the wrong way? Yes, I beat it, but not by much, and that was, wow, this is not a good overclocking software. So basically the standard is if you want to overclock and you can beat it, but there are like drawbacks with the stability and sinks and stuff like that. And then at the same time, with the ecosystem that Windows has now, is it even like, oh, hey, what's going on? How you doing there? Steven, welcome to the stream. So yeah, that brings up a lot of questions now, like with the whole portion of the ecosystem of what we're playing here with Windows. It almost makes me want to host another one with just the old school standard that they have and see what ends up happening. Oh, nice. The Sapphires were a good line, especially the 57 XTs. I like them. And I do hear a lot of success with undervolting and situations like that where the TDRs are always the issue. No, I'm going to start recommending it myself too. Now, like, understanding and like I referenced my old school score on like the old school overclocking, and like this just proves it right now that like pretty much it's an okay software. But if you look at the last patch notes, I literally, by overclocking myself, I'm barely beating anything. And watch this. Let's go ahead and just reset it, and we're gonna do some humor here. We're gonna say, hey, we're just the average person just not wanting to deal with the manual stuff, right? Go back to like this, which is garbage, right? See what it spits out for us, which supposedly is supposed to be better, but it's not going to be better, sadly. So I'm going to reset it one more time. I just want to see the number. So it's definitely consistent with what it wants to give us for the 18, right? So refresh it. I want everything default. Now that everything is default, we're backing out of this, and we're going to do the test again and watch it only be like a handful of points right below it. And at that point in time, it's really not even worth fiddling with the overclocking. For squeezing just like 200, I mean, like, in today's gaming, that's like an FPS here and there, and like for me, I'm not really tripping about that. Like honestly, I could definitely see if like maybe I was in 720p and my card was struggling to do a lot of stuff, or if I was streaming and trying to look for clarity, yeah, definitely. Like you're gonna be trying to squeeze the enthusiast, like I guess, technical lemon out of it. But as much as I'd like to make lemonade with my technology, this sweet drink hopefully will be brought to you by Points, which will be on 3D Mark. We'll see. We will see. I mean, I'm just calling it right now. Like, the playing field. It's like you almost got to go old school and go into your BIOS and change the volt setting there and just keep raising it up and have it ignore the software inside of there. Or just go to, you know, the standard, which works. It works quite well. Pretty sweet. See, but I don't see any issue with this, and this is just default. It looks pretty good by itself. Oh, gee golly. Windows, what have you done now? I feel like it's a combination of both. Maybe it's like a reduction on that. And I'm gonna laugh if like maybe we come out with like a 20.8.2, or I'm hoping maybe by 20.9, which is September, we're looking at next month. They should have a lot of this over overclocking issues hammered out, because this is basically just saying overclocking is not worth it in the software for the optional. But if you want like a performance boost and you're just the average player and you just want to click on your switch of success for advanced scheduling, then yeah, the optional is your friend. Very interesting times. Confusing times, rather. Ah, what a rascally rabbit Windows is. And AMD, I suppose, at this point. This one is hard to deduce on the overclocking part. Wow, that's good to point out there, Steven. Yeah, some of the Vega series, it's like always undervolting kind of wins, just for the simple reason it just seemed to have that sweet spot for like the technology, which is pretty cool to see, honestly. It's a great line. They've carried it on. It's a legacy at this point in time, with the way they've kept it just grooving. Wow, what a wreckage of scores. It's like I don't know what to trust anymore. Like this could be a Windows thing, ladies and gentlemen. This thing is all over the board. Even with an overclocking though, like seriously, that's pretty bad. This driver seems a little bit like a hot mess now. Now having like a playing around with it and overclocking it. It's not good. Huh. Standardized, I guess, suppose. But to be fair though, let's go ahead and reset the computer. It did crash. It could having some kind of weird situation. Let's give it a second chance. I feel like one more time and then we can kind of rule it, because I feel like a conclusive test, because I have two dissimilar tests. So whichever one the other one sides with, we'll figure out. Because it's either 21 for 37, I think. Something around there. If I remember correct. No, it was around that ballpark, but I'll go ahead and let it reset real fast. I'm hoping it could pull off a miracle, because it did do that like whole hard boot, and then the whole situation where it like soft booted, and I'm just like, hey buddy, how you doing there? Time will tell though. I'm assuming it's probably gonna take like probably a second for my computer to boot back in. Wow, that was cool. I just saw that on the OBS side. It was all matrixy. In playback, that's gonna look pretty cool. It's like a casino game at that point in time. It's hilarious. I'm assuming it's probably something to do with some kind of beta driver. Lo and behold. Let it warm up just for a split second, you know? Give it some breathing room. Everything's there. Go ahead and boot up 3D Mark. Let it do its thing. And we will run some overclocking and see what happens here. And I mean overclocking by just letting it run a normal test and see if it overclocks itself with the advanced scheduling. I'm hoping that it duplicates the score. But we'll find out. Because I'm going to have to figure it out for advanced patch notes. Oh, yeah. Alright, computer. Fresh start. Tabula rasa. What will happen next on GPU Planet? To be fair though, I am like holding up a new graphics card against my old graphics card, so to be identical, I would have to, in order to drop my other graphics card into there to get the 2200 score. Right now, I'm just trying to get the dang card to duplicate. Yes, I actually love overclocking my virtual RAM. With the Radeon 7, it's really forgiving. You can go pretty much like 1200. But for just this base testing, I usually use a standard just default, just so it's like whatever the software is trying to run. Makes it easier with having consistency on what's wrong with the software or another place of point. Good question though. I don't know. I think this might pull off a home run randomly. I'm gonna laugh if it gets the 21400 within that club. This is looking like it's gonna finish pretty well. I'm actually very excited to see what happens with the score. This is probably one of my favorite portions of the test on Firestrike, just because you see all the background get completely destroyed, and it's all about the falling that I usually pay attention to with the frame rate tears. So it's like you see all the people holding the swords in the very various points, like all breaking at that one point in time. Because the fight's really cool to watch, but it's like I watch the background to see what's happening, because I feel like that's where they were kind of like cleaning up, and then like the jitters in the front were taken care of. I mean, but that's from like the original like 1900 series, 2019 freaking software. That shit's ancient. Like last year. Wow. So it's consistently scoring down and down. So this seems like this might be Windows. Let's check something real fast. So I mean that's still on that situation. And there's a draw. That's just so weird with all the testing that we've done today. You'd think that we might actually have something more conclusive. But it seems like right now it was fine when I was doing the testing before the Windows Explorer test, which came in as a huge thing. It forced me to completely shut down. And then it made me go through its stupid tutorial. I don't like it that much. So I had that one, and then today was a security upgrade. So that could have also played a part into like what ended up happening. So, huh. Seems like the highest you could possibly get is 21. So it's like, I guess for most people tuning in right now, if I should say, hey, am I going to upgrade to the optional? I'd say probably go back to the standard from a lot of recommendations from the community. And I mean, that's across the board, even when the live stream. 20.4.2 seems to be the winner. So I'd like to think at this point in time we can bow out saying that we had a fun time. And for me, that's good enough. I think that that was pretty cool. I'm probably going to set up for some Avengers because I think that that game is pretty rad. Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone in the tech community. If you're new, you can always subscribe. Absolutely free. But for all the returning tech community people, thank you so much. Appreciate it. I always like hosting these for you guys and gals so we can kind of see the progression together. So it's kind of like something we can all agree on where it's like, yeah, it's totally this or it's totally that. And it makes sense because I feel like AMD can say and Windows and all these other people can say they're fixing stuff, but the reality is they're not really gaming on it. They're not really using it as much as we are. They're just trying to fix what the people are talking about it. So it's like they're in the post or we're working within the pre. So thank you so much, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and hit a quick commercial re-ad, and I'll say stay classy, stay safe out there, everyone. And I'll see you guys and gals in the near future, okay? Have fun. I very much say have fun. I mean, can't stress that enough. Because you don't want to have stress when you have fun. It's fun. Later.